it reminds me of, so I'm gonna tell a little story. Back in 2017, I had the pleasure of speaking at Harvard University at their We Code conference, Women Engineers in Coding. And I was on this panel, which was called A Foray into FinTech. I was able to offer some insights on what we were doing in the FinTech world. And, at that time, the progression of Bitcoin and blockchain and all that. But I spoke on a panel with this woman named Lauren who worked at a company called Tala. And she just brought so much incredible perspective. Her background was in data science. So she talked about, and I'm going to bring up a little bit about Tala just to show you guys, but they were like an international platform that was like a fintech startup. And they were providing microloans all over the world. And when I say microloans, here we're talking about like $400. She was talking about $5 for someone in like Uganda to borrow $5 that could launch a business for weaving baskets to feed their family for a month. Let that sink in. $5 could help start an entire basket weaving business that could help feed someone's family for a month. That just like blew my mind when she said that. And it really helps put into perspective I'm going to say the blonde haired, blue eyed Central Mass world that I live in, and how we get to often think so narrowly about what it means based on our perceived world experiences, our own individual experiences in our community, our families, our social networks, whether that's physical or digital. And all these different things shape our thoughts and perceptions. And so when she said microloan, of course I'm thinking, $200, $400. And whenever she said $500, like that blew my mind. And I was like, wow, something like that can make such a huge difference in the world. $5. And it made me think of, I went to school at Clark University in Worcester, and we were doing a project, and we started talking about assumptions. So what were the assumptions? And, they would be like, oh, well, the assumption is you have, let's say, like a certain degree or access to an operational plant and, a larger team to be able to scale. And then the instructor would bring us back and like, okay, but before you even got to that, you went through 5 things in your head that you just assumed you had access to. You assumed you had access to running water. You assumed you had access to electricity. You assumed you had access to Wi-Fi and internet. And I was like, holy crap. There are places doing startups all over the world that those are their basics that they don't even think about. So now I kind of try to bring that to things that I think of when I'm like, the basic assumptions, you can't discount them. But I'd love to hear where everyone's tuning in from, because like I was talking yesterday about, or the day before, about ag lending, like these are things that don't even cross my mind because it's not the world that I live in. And there are so many bankers out there dealing with different things. And I spoke at a conference once. This is similar, and it was in Miami. And the topic was employee advocacy and building a brand ambassador program that humanized the brand and help build trust and all that. And just it was fun, right? And I had 2 women that had flown from Israel to Miami to hear me and my colleagues speak, and they caught our ear for a couple moments, and it was just so intriguing because they said, like, we're trying to do something similar in Israel, and it's not the fun, the selfies. We're trying to humanize our brand and create connections because people don't trust banks in Israel, and we're trying to let them know that we're community members just like them, and that they can trust us because we're one of them. And I just, that like blew my mind. Like, so it wasn't about the fun, it wasn't about the showing off the local coffee shop, it wasn't about promoting a new product, it wasn't like launching a, a beer collab. This was like creating basic trust, basic trust, so that people would put money in the bank and feel that it was safe, because they would rather keep it in their homes than trust it with the bank. Isn't that these things just like blow my mind, and it goes to show how like narrow of a world I live in. But anytime I get these moments to just like expand and learn, it fills me up. And I hope that you guys take those moments too, because it's just so cool.